good day, whichever time frame you're in, or time zone. Um, this is our Condo Insider recording shows that we have been doing for like the last 7 years. We had previously done it through Think Tech Hawaii with Jay Fidel, but last year he officially retired. And so we had to set up our own network. We created our own YouTube channel. And so now, and we found Key Media, Ikaika. So he is running our recordings now. And we're really happy to have him available to do that. So today our discussion is going to be with Hawaii Energy. Dan Mestas is going to be giving us an update on energy rebates, also a little bit of update on benchmarking, where we stand, and where that's going to go. Because I think it's been, what, 2 years now since the implementation of benchmarking?
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see what he has in the know about that. And then energy. The whole basis is providing money saving ideas to condos. And I know the Hawaii energy rebates are very substantial on certain items. And so I will leave it to Dan to educate us on their programs. Take it away.
Thanks, Raylene. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dan Mestas. I'm the Principal Development Engineer for the Hawaii Energy Program. If you haven't heard of us, our mission is to empower island families and businesses to make smarter energy choices, to reduce consumption, save money, and pursue a 100% clean energy future. The Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative came about in 2008 when our state moved forward with a goal to be the nation's first ever 100% renewable portfolio standard by 2045. So that means we'll be getting off of fossil fuels gradually and going into more renewables, which helps hedge those costs when there are external factors, like, for instance, the Russia-Ukraine war that directly impacts our energy use. If we use renewables and save a lot more, we can reduce the costs for all the islands. We have three program pillars here: clean energy tech, which is in our incentives, accessibility and affordability. We have additional higher incentives and offerings for disadvantaged residential and commercial customers. And then the MTED section, market transformation, that's where we offer a lot of trainings and things like that to consumers and to contractors on the island. Where does our, oh, excuse me, where does our funding come from? It's called the Public Benefits Fund, and I have a little snapshot of an electric bill here with the surcharge circled. That surcharge is about 1.5%, I believe, and that funds all of our programs. So every HECO customer is putting money into this fund, and so it's really money left on the table if you don't participate. We have a team of advisors and engineers that serve all Hawaiian Electric territories. So that's, all the main islands except for Kauai. They have their own program. All of our advisors are sector-based. So Travis Hiramoto focuses on condos for Oahu. And then for outer islands, we have Grayson, Malia, and Walter that handle really everything on the island. And if you're not already on our newsletter, I'll paste that into the chat because that's a really good information source to be able to find all the offerings and know what we're promoting. So who can participate? There's a lot of different types of condo definitions, some of which, maybe don't look like a high rise. So I put a list here of all the different types of condos, just so that you know that no matter what you are, as long as you're a HECO ratepayer, either through your association fees or your own Hawaiian Electric meter, you can still participate and receive incentives. For common area maintenance, those are going to be most of the commercial incentives that we have. So that's going to be like the F, the G, the J, and the P accounts. The F is the street lights, things like that typically, and the other ones are escalating based on how much energy you use. So this common area maintenance fees for buildings with less amenities, that could be, under $1 per square foot. But there are many condos that are more than $2 per square foot. And that's where you can really impact savings aside from your individual usage. to help lower the costs for everyone. You're going to be cutting operating costs, reducing financial risk, and increasing the property value. Energy is one of the largest controllable operating costs in common areas. So that's really why we encourage folks to take a look at those, because whenever the electric bill comes, we seem to always just pay it and move on. There's a lot of opportunities to save, especially as you take care of older equipment. The savings is pretty dramatic. I'm going to show you a few different strategies that you can do based on your benchmarking score, which Raylene alluded to earlier. Once you benchmark, your next step depends on really kind of the situation that you have, and they're all very different. How much capital you have, your aging systems, and how your team there operates. So what the benchmarking really boils down to is just your total energy use. So that's all the electric, all the gas, divided by your square footage. And that gives you a score. So it's energy for the year divided by square foot. On this website, you can look through everyone's scores who has submitted. You can also look at the national averages under CBEX or Energy Star, and that's where you can find how should a building perform. Then you look at your score and kind of see how close are you to the median. If you're above the median, you have pretty good opportunity. If you're below, you've got a lot of best practices in place, or you don't have a lot of amenities like air conditioning, you don't have a pool, things like that. So it's good to look at those differences when you're benchmarking and comparing yourself. A couple big things that I want to make sure you're aware of. These are all the cost savings now, what we're going to talk about. Hawaii has banned fluorescents. Fluorescents contain mercury. That's why. So there's a 2-year kind of process to eliminate these. And our rebates really kick in on anything that saves energy below the minimum code or below the minimum baseline. So once these certain fluorescents are banned, that's when our rebate goes away for fluorescents. So you really want to take a look at your property and see if you have any of those fluorescents interior type of lights still around so that you can get those incentives. For anything exterior and stuff like that, those will continue to work through the custom program. If you're right at the median, excuse me, there's a lot of ways you can find to save. The Energy Star Treasure Hunt checklist and the Water Sense checklist. Those have really everything you need to do to create a rounds list to really look for waste, particularly, and those are free. I'll provide those links as well. Those are your basic things. For incentives, those are the prescriptive rebates, like for like type of replacements. It's really good for folks that are limited capital or staff, and these are quick ROI. These are very low cost kind of measures up here. For the buildings with more aging systems and large systems, when you have maybe a chilled water plant with more complex equipment, that's where you have a lot more opportunity to save. So these projects are more complex, and a lot of times they go into our custom program, which can result in a lot larger incentives and savings. For instance, if you were going to replace a chiller plant or something like that, we can pay you 18 cents per kilowatt hour that you save, up to 50% of the project cost. And we do sometimes hit that for certain folks' projects. There's really a staged approach to doing a lot of these upgrades, and that's why we really harp on lighting and trying to retro commission or you're really trying to fix and shrink the energy kind of leaks first, and then invest in the expensive equipment. So that helps you save money along the way, kind of bank that. You get the most ROI, and when you bank that savings and move forward, that's when you can help fund some of the larger projects along with our rebates, because you always want to look at the system before you replace it and not just replace it like for like all the time. So if you were to get rid of a lot of fluorescent lighting, that's going to be less heat, which results in maybe better air conditioning. So you may not need as large of a system when you work on a lot of these other things first. The last example here is really for any EUI score, which is energy use intensity. That was that benchmarking. Again, there's these checklists that are really important to look at. If you have controls systems in your building, sometimes it's just a matter of schedule tuning or set point tuning, making sure things are not set too cold or that the operating windows are not too wide. A lot of those things are low cost, super easy to do. The next slide, this is a screenshot of those checklists that I mentioned. Just the first page, they really have the common areas listed out by section: lighting, HVAC, water heating, landscaping, exterior, all those types of things. And you could do this on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, weekly basis, and just make sure that everyone's aware of this until residents and your facilities teams know what to look for and they can cut down on the waste. It's things you can do while you're just doing rounds. For all of our incentives, I want to run through these real quick. If you have a residential, maybe it's a single family home that's within your association, you can still qualify for those residential rebates if you have the R account. So solar water heating is the best, heat pump is second, and the worst type that you want to really look for are those electric tank water heaters or any of those instant water heaters. Those are highly inefficient and cost a lot. Solar, obviously, you have to have some roof space and work on that. So that one sometimes isn't the best fit for folks, but heat pump water heaters may be, and those will cut your water heating cost at least by 2/3 if you went from electric to heat pump, and maybe even more when you go to solar. A few more incentives that you can work on in your own units if you have AC or fans. These are all really good offerings too that will save you energy. The coolest one that we have is this AC tune-up. So that's essentially working with the service contractor to clean and check your system to make sure that it's working efficiently. Couple more old appliances, very big deal. We have a trade-up program in certain communities, and even Rid-A-Fridge, well, we'll pay you $75 to recycle your system. And then, of course, with pools, if you have pools and you don't have a VFD, which is essentially a speed control, there's a lot of savings there for residential and commercial. And to give you an idea of how much savings you can really see with some of these projects, I picked out a couple relevant case studies here on some progressive projects, specifically Keolalai. They did lighting, they did submeters, then they did transformers. So, if you do all that lighting, that's the low-hanging fruit, reduces your air conditioning load. You now implement the submeters. Now the tenants are more aware of what their consumption is, and it gives them an incentive to reduce. And we're actually seeing at least 13% reduction in energy use for the buildings that did install the submeters. We have access to all the billing data, so we can analyze and see how effective some of these are afterwards. If you have booster pumps, normally the taller buildings or more widespread communities will have a booster pump to provide the water. Those are also big measures if you install VFDs. The interior and exterior lighting that I mentioned, street lights, some of those F accounts that are on your property might be street lights. Those old yellowish orange lights that you see out there, those are usually the ones you want to upgrade. Big savings there too. That Kalani Iki one actually took advantage of it last year when we doubled our custom incentive. So you can see the math on that one. That was a real no-brainer. Looks like about a 2-year payback, something like that, 2 or 3. And then for pools, that VFD retrofit, a lot of money to save there. A couple of new rebates. The compressed air might not apply to you, but we added a cool roof incentive for folks that want to do roof coatings. That makes sense when you're air conditioned. So it would need to be on an air conditioned facility because that's where you get the savings by upgrading your roof coatings. The heat pump I mentioned before, and then refrigeration, that's more for commercial kitchens and restaurants. The custom incentive, which is going to be for those larger projects that I was talking about, when you have chiller plants, things like that. we actually increased our incentive by 50% for this program year. So that's really huge. And again, those custom incentives can be up to 50% of the project cost. Transformers, same thing. That's a custom um, rate that moved up. And the important thing to note on the pool pumps is that rebate's going to sunset in 2026 for pumps that are under 5 horsepower. So please check with us or your pool service person if you don't have a VFD already. Um, these are a couple notes on the lighting incentives that we bumped up in hopes that folks uh, will really expedite those retrofits out of the fluorescents. So you'll really want to expedite that because we'll be doing a grace period through February because the law goes into place in January and we want to give folks a little bit of time. So please take a look or contact us and we can help you. A couple more of the different fixture types. So that's the corn cob. It's kind of looks literally like a corn cob light. Exit signs. The exteriors, those are usually not fluorescent, so that'll still fall under custom. And controls. So all your type of occupancy sensors or schedulers that you install, we can provide rebates for those savings that you get from that. So if you are doing any of those upgrades and they result in better energy use, please touch base with us early so we can tell you what that incentive could be. This is an eye chart, but I wanted to at least let you know about all the different things. Really, anything that uses electricity, we have an incentive for. It's either a prescriptive, like these certain ones, you replace this, you get this much dollars, or the custom ones, which are directly correlating to the savings. So sometimes there's measurements with those. There's the kitchen equipment. I'm not sure some of you might have lessees, restaurants or things like that. All of them can participate as well, whether or not they have a HECO account directly with them or not. We can work with the landlord to help them on some of their upgrades in those tenants that you may have. Couple additional ones, metering and monitoring. That's the sub-metering that I was mentioning. A lot of you folks have taken advantage of this and seen good savings, but we still have this offer. And it can be for condos or the commercial building tenants to where you're going to use sub-meters for billing. They may not have a HECO account and you were using like a pro rata share and just dividing it out. The sub-meter will actually measure what they're using, and then your accounting would divide your rates up and charge them for what they use. The water heating I mentioned, the pumps I mentioned, and so really want to leave you with just a call to action. We should schedule a time to talk and explore what's possible. We have a really excited team that's able to come out and do walkthroughs for folks. You don't have to be the expert. That's why we're here. So I'm going to put my contact here, as well as my QR code, if you wanted to engage and see if we can help you out on site. It's all free. It's included with your HECO account. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay, great. So a reminder to everybody, on the opening slide where you showed the rate or the cost that funds Hawaii Energy. So everybody that has the electric bill is paying into that bill, including our condos, where we common area elements. We have to pay the electric bill, so we've paid into it. So I'm kind of like the same way with our bottle recycling. You pay 5 cents, I think it's 5 cents a bottle, into that recycling fund. And so you want to get your money back and recycle that bottle, get your money back. Same way with Hawaii Energy, you already paid into it. And I know some of the savings can be very significant. Years ago, I remember resident manager, they replaced something on the roof. I forgot what it was, but I believe the number was like in excess of 40,000 to replace it. But their rebate came back at like right under 20,000, so they almost got like a 40% rebate back. That's huge. That is huge.
Yeah, and the part and that's really just one of my advisors taught me this one, and that's really just the cherry on top, that rebate. The biggest part is that lifetime energy savings that you're going to see, which affects your bottom line directly. As soon as you make that upgrade, you're reaping the benefits right away. Whether it's lighting, air conditioning, water heating, transformers, window film, any of that, it's very predictable and reliable. That's one of the best thing about energy cost savings. Um, our rates here on Oahu are around 35 cents per kWh all in. And like I mentioned on that custom rebate, we're paying 18 cents. So it's kind of almost, it's about a 50% essential bonus on that one-time payment when you do those upgrades. So I've been doing these projects for 2 decades now, even when I was managing facilities. And energy projects were always the go-to when we needed savings. We could find an upgrade, improve some behaviors, put a checklist in place, what have you, and directly impact the bottom line, which usually frees up people and frees up funds for more important things.
So 2026 is it January 2026 is the deadline for the fluorescents, right?
Yeah.
So there are lighting companies, I'm sure Light Bulb Source has, but I've been
Yep.
told that instead of replacing the fixture, there are other light bulbs with those pins. So you essentially don't have to replace the fixture. You just got to get the correct bulb that will fit into those pukas for the pins. So you guys
Hmm.
might want to check that out if you're at that point where you have to comply with the fluorescent lighting ban. Check out to see if the other lighting companies, I know Light Bulb Source is one, and there's another one off of Nimitz, I think, that sells all kinds of lighting stuff. Check with them to see if they have something that will fit into. I'm sure you have to probably take a picture of the fixture and then take it to them. It'd be easier to see if they have a bulb versus having to completely replace that fixture to get rid of the fluorescent bulb.
Yeah,
Uh,
good point. You can just go down and dirty and replace those lamps. Unless you're doing a full renovation or something, it really makes a lot of sense to change the fixture out then. But if you have a parking garage or some stairwells, that's the easiest way. You'll have the fastest ROI, and your own facilities team may be able to do those upgrades for you. So you're going to save across the board, plus empower the team. It's a really good kind of thing when you have on-site facilities folks that works alongside you doing these upgrades, um, because they're the ones that are doing it, and you see really how valuable their labor can be. You can save money.
are there heat pumps that will replace those low boy hot water heaters?
Yes. Yeah, sure. There are heat pumps for all different applications. It really comes down to your facility and where you can put it. Heat pumps need to have some cover from the elements.
Mhm.
So they usually need some type of a doghouse or mechanical room. So if you're limited by height, there are some that are a little bit shorter, but that could be a constraint for you depending on that. It needs some cover.
Okay. Well, in most condos that I've lived in, they're usually in a cabinet somewhere.
Hmm.
Or they're even short ones that are like maybe what 3 feet tall. Um, yeah, they're usually underneath a cabinet or inside a cabinet.
Yeah,
Um,
those might be not very feasible. They don't have any that are going to fit under like a restroom sink kind of deal for those small instant ones.
no, it's
They
usually
would,
a kitchen cabinet kind of a deal. That's
yeah, that might be too short to
still
fit
too
what's
short.
out right now.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, so in regards to the buildings or the facilities that are sub-metered, um, you know, everybody has to realize, because I had the same conversation with the Board of Water Supply, where the individual units do not receive a Hawaiian Electric bill. And so they miss the important newsletter that's included in the monthly statements.
Mm.
So I've been encouraging people and actually even the actual bill itself usually goes to the management company. So what's important, because visual is always better than just seeing numbers, is the graph on the bill. So we're encouraging everybody to require their managing agents to set with their monthly financials to attach a copy of the utility bills that ultimately can be posted on the bulletin board, and it's a shared responsibility for energy savings. You know, if they did they could tie it in with a retrofit and say, look at how much money we saved, or do it with a campaign to see, like for Board of Water Supply, let's do this campaign where everybody try to get everybody to not run the water while they're brushing their teeth, or take only 10 or 15-minute showers, not half-hour showers and running the hot water at the same time, steaming hot water. Make a game out of it and see where the consumption gets reduced down and show the efforts. But everybody needs to know, it's part of the engagement of the community. But we're trying to encourage everybody to require that their managing agent send them a copy of the bill and also the newsletter that's included every month. There is hints, tricks, good information in those newsletters that a lot of homeowners don't get because they don't get a direct bill.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I hadn't realized that before.
Yeah, so the sub-meter, especially the sub-meter people, they don't get a bill,
Mm-hmm.
they don't get an official HECO bill. So they're missing out on some important information that could deal with energy saving related stuff.
It's currently 10.
Sorry about that. And then one other thing I wanted to point out before we go is in 2026, one of our education topics is going to be around, of course, money savings. So Hawaii Energy would be a participant in that. But it's one of our goals, and we're going to probably bring in some city agencies as well, on anything that's related to money savings that we can do. But the pool one was really the eye catcher for me today, is that particular replacement part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of times what you'll see instead of the VFD is you'll just see pumps that are running a single speed, and then they control the speed and fine tune it with hand valves. So if you have a VFD, you're going to see a pump with like a box on it, usually a readout or a little plate you can open with the box. If you don't have that, it's most likely a constant speed system, and you're a candidate for adding the pool pump VFD. So it's really just slowing down the speed. And the magic behind that is that it's actually proportional to the cube of that reduction. So if you reduce your speed by let's say 20%, you actually get 50% energy savings. So little reductions on pumps and fans have an exponential amount of savings.
So even like your AC units,
Yep.
properly maintaining them with the cleaning, because I know if you don't clean it, it can clog certain things, which makes it work harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if that outdoor unit portion of your AC is dirty, it makes the compressor run more. And that's the number one energy user within the AC, because it can't reduce the heat that's trying to be put outside the building, so it needs to work at higher pressures. So obviously that's going to result in wear and tear. If you're not cleaning, you're running that system at higher pressures, you're using more energy, and you'll definitely wear it out faster. Same kind of similar on the indoor unit. That's the one that has the cold air coming out, and those need to be clean as well because of mold concerns and efficiency concerns.
Right.
At least annually. Depends on your environment. If it's a really dusty environment, something like that, then you need to do it more frequently. So start by inspecting those coils kind of monthly and work with your provider to decide on a good frequency.
Okay, thank you so much, Dan, for this, for participating in our Condo Insider. It only gets better with more information that we've done this, and I really appreciate your time. And I hope that you and your Hawaii Energy team have an enjoyable, safe, healthy holiday season right around the corner.
Yep, thanks so much. We will be here. You can contact us anytime, and we'd love to schedule a call with you, a site visit, whatever works for you. We have a good team that can come out and identify these things for you, help you find contractors, help you find good products. We can connect all those dots for you, and we're happy to help.
Oh,
Thanks,
one last
Raylene.
question that came to mind.
Mhm.
The Kalani Iki where they did the street lights, Is it kind of the same principle as your rooftop lights? Because they're usually high powered, lumens. Um,
Oh, are you referring to like those wall packs on the exterior?
yeah, the big, huge light
Hmm.
fixtures that look down onto the parking lots.
Yeah, very similar to those kind of tennis court lights or street
Yeah,
lights.
yeah,
Yeah, similar really. Just depends on the output, the spread and kind of the colors that you
right.
choose.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Similar. Those are the big savings. If you have old ones there, those can be by 75% cost savings if you have something of
I
those
can,
older type and go to LED, especially if you make sure that your timers are working correctly. So you always want to check those to make sure
right.
you're not turning things on too early and shutting them off too late. It's kind of the silent killer. You're focused on everything inside the building and wasting on the outside.
Yeah, especially those old halogen lights. Those are
Hmm.
hot. If you ever were near one, and it's hot. So I'm sure that
Hmm.
they suck energy big time.
Yeah,
Um,
especially when they're indoors, those older ones, because that makes your AC work harder. So you really get, um, you
yeah.
know, bang for the buck on that because it's helping with lighting and reducing how much energy your AC uses.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you for your time, Dan. I really appreciate it. And again, have a healthy, safe, and enjoyable holiday season coming up. And then
Thank you.
we're going to be back at work in 2026.
Yep. See you soon. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.